Welcome to the segment where we are now going to discuss about force majeure and doctrine of impossibility or doctrine of frustration. So why this force majeure you might have in your mind that why this force majeure are we looking for or what would doctrine of impossibility or frustration serve? So what we saw is yes, the industry has definitely got impact. Now there are rights and obligations which were not being able to perform. Now typically in a normal scenario, what would be have been the recourse? So say for example, A is delivering goods to B, and say 100 chairs are to be delivered from Pune to Nasik. So here, if A makes a default in not supplying these chairs on a particular date, which is being agreed, so say 5th of June. Now, in a normal scenario, if these goods are not being delivered, the other party may have options like the party may sue the other party like for not fulfilling the obligations, or they may sue for damages, or they may terminate the contract. So these kind are the scenarios or the impact when a particular party is not able to fulfill its obligations and which has been agreed in the contract. So here it becomes important. Now, in the current scenario, as we all know, that most of the contracts were not being able to, the performance of contract was not possible because the government had put down the restrictions on the movement of people and, of course, the operations of the industry as such. So here it becomes important that how in such kind of scenarios the live contracts, now contracts are live even though there is a lockdown or a intervention by government that on the restriction of movement, the contracts are still live, the dates have been agreed, the obligations have been agreed between the parties. Now how this recourse can be taken to contract and why this force majeure then comes into picture is what we are going to understand from this segment. So here, when a party is not able to fulfill the obligations because of the COVID impact, that is the government lockdown which was being initiated, a party in a contract can take a leverage of the term which is called as force majeure. Now, what is this force majeure? So, if we see, say, Black's Law's dictionary, it defines as an event or effect that can neither be anticipated or controlled. So, basically, the two important aspects of this definition are that the event or effect is not being anticipated. Now, nobody knew like 6 months down that there will be a pandemic like a situation what we are facing today, or there would be a movement a restriction put by the government. So this is where you can say yes, such kind of scenarios can be treated as an event which was neither anticipated nor controlled. Because if we see, say construction contracts or say lease contracts, there are typical deadlines for completion of a particular work in construction contract. So if it is a road construction contract, the milestones are being given, or if it is a software development program, of course software people were able to work from home and there is not much disruption to the IT industry as such. But if at all there was something very critical and they had to have some physical kind of mapping to a particular machinery or likewise, so here it would have been an impact on such kind of contracts where the contracts which were the obligations which were agreed between the parties have come that they are not able to fulfill and have come to a standstill. So here the force majeure clause in the contract can be invoked by such parties that yes, this was an impossible event which was neither anticipated or controlled. Now I am using the word impossible, but we are also going to see whether this impossibility is there or it's just like a temporary feature of the contract or a permanent feature, because upon this the doctrine of impossibility or doctrine of frustration is becomes applicable. And that's why this impossibility, whether it is for like a short duration, like for example 25th of March to 14th of April was there a problem, or it's like a permanent problem which is now being created. So these kind of things are also very important, and we are going to see in this segment that how doctrine, whether doctrine of impossibility or frustration can be invoked or not. So what is force majeure? Again, what we saw is it's included in this measure. Now, what is this? So basically, under various judgments, it has been mentioned that strikes, breakdown of machinery, all this can come under, or say, for example, if there are strikes, lockouts which are being there, or in case of there is a fire, or what we see war-like situation, or terrorism is there, or say for example there is a foreign enemy act of any foreign enemy, like we are facing the problems at borders of India, or a hostile attack, or a serious threat, a kind of epidemic, a cyclone, a violent storm, a hurricane, tornado, or earthquake, volcanic activity. So basically, if you see, all these are instances which are not in the control of the parties, and nobody had foreseen this. Now, obviously, nobody does know that when a tsunami is going to arrive, and even if you know, you have no control over it. So even if there are predictions, like for example in the Nisarga cyclone, we knew that there are predictions that these kind of areas might be impacted, but how much damage control can be done is also not in our hand. So these kind of scenarios definitely are important and can be covered under contracts, that yes, because of these scenarios a party is not able to perform their obligations which have been agreed by them in a particular contract. So if we see, even government of India had come in the had declared that yes, COVID can be treated as a force majeure event, because yes, it was an extraordinary event which was not in our, which is not in our, still not in our control, and of course it is like a natural calamity, though not a natural calamity typically or per se, but yes, it is an event which is not in our control and which is beyond our capacity to control it or take measures for it. So the question also here which is important, that yes, 6 months before nobody knew what was COVID. But if today I am entering into a contract, can I say or invoke a force majeure clause because of, say, for example, there is a next wave? Unfortunately, fingers crossed, we don't have it. But if there is a next wave or COVID, whether can you treat it as force majeure will also be a situation worth to ponder, because now A, we know that there is a COVID-like scenario and what are the repercussions. So such kind of thing, whether can be invoked or not, would also be a kind of things to be, or whether it can be challenged is also worth pondering. Now, okay, we invoke that yes, there is a force majeure kind of situation. What should a party do? So, a party is required to give notice to the other party that, hey, look, we had agreed on this contract and these were the deliverable dates on which we had to perform the obligations or deliver the goods to a particular person. But today we are invoking a force majeure because of the government lockdown which was being initiated and movement restriction which was being initiated. So this notification of invoking of force majeure is also considered very important, because from there onwards you are protecting as a party from the other party being suing you for breach of contract or for termination of contract, and likewise. So whatever is being agreed in the contract, you are saving yourself as a party from not performing due to a particular reason. So like I told you here, the contractual liability, it prevents basically from fulfilling their that liability which is being there on other party. So it is like an excuse that okay, because of COVID or because of force majeure invocation, the suspension is being created on the liabilities and the obligation. Now, it is also worth pondering to note whether the payment obligations can stop because of force majeure is a question I'm sure which would have come in your mind. That even if you might have aware that the moratorium was being is also being given to the in respect of loan. So whether that moratorium does that mean that no, you are not liable or you are not liable to pay your EMIs? The answer is definitely no. That no, it doesn't stop you from or it doesn't make like okay, you are being exempted from paying your EMIs. It just gives you a time, right? A time is being given that okay, if it was your EMI was due to today or tomorrow, okay, fine, you can pay it after a particular date. So Please understand that force majeure is something where there is a temporary suspension due to an unforeseen event. It does not relieve or excuses you from the liability which you might have. Only the thing it postpones what your performance obligations are. Okay, so this is a very important fact which we must understand, that force majeure is something which creates a temporary suspension, that okay, even if you don't do a particular thing, you will not face the consequences of getting sued or the consequences of termination of a contract or any other damages or a liquidated damages which has been agreed between the parties. So typically, if you see the clauses of force majeure do have a period, like say for example 60 days, 30 days, 90 days, that okay, a party can be prevented from not performing. So for example, there is a fire in the building and because of which you are unable to perform, then what the force majeure clause can be invoked? Yes, there is a fire in the building and we are not able to perform, but that would be for a particular period. And some contracts also do have a clause that if that goes beyond a particular period, that may give the other party a right to termination of that contract. So here, a lot of instances now in the industry has also seen that the other parties may have terminated the contract because the other party is not able to perform for a particular day. So if a company is in a hotspot and it's not able to perform for what 90 days, 120 days, certainly the other party may get a right, if it is agreed in the contract, that yes, you can terminate that contract. So, but the damages portion can definitely be saved because you're invoking the force majeure. So, maybe the liability portion with respect to damages can be saved. So, this creates an exception that okay, I'm invoking this force majeure and I'm not required to fulfill the obligation because of this unprecedented, say, pandemic in the current scenario. So, Government of India also had brought a notification that and treated COVID as a force majeure event. So this is also so wherever there are government contracts involved, the force majeure clause would have been invoked or by the parties, either parties, if it's government on the receiving side or on the supplying side, this clause was also being invoked. Now, if we see where this clause gets this genesis from, because if we read the Indian Contract Act, there is no mention of force majeure per se as a word in the Indian Contract Act. But if we see, then there is a section 32 under the Indian Contract Act which refers to enforcement of contracts that is contingent on an event happening. So typically, this is where the force majeure event fits in. That these are the contingent contracts to do or not to do anything if an uncertain future event happens, cannot be enforced by law unless and until that event has happened. So if the event becomes impossible, such contracts become void. So this section 32 is somewhere where we get the idea that okay, this is the force majeure thing which comes into picture. And like I told you, the most important aspect is to notify the other party that yes, I'm invoking the force majeure clause, and the exception is being created for payment of breach related damages or which may not be payable. Now, there is also another section which we are going to see in the Indian Contract Act, which is Section 56 of the Indian Contract Act. Now, this Section 56 is all about impossibility, an agreement to do an impossible act. So, basically, it says that if it is an agreement to do an impossible act, then it is void. So a contract, if it reads like this, that a contract to do an act which after the contract is made becomes impossible, or by reason of some event, say for example like COVID, which the promisor could not prevent, unlawful becomes void when the act becomes impossible or unlawful. And the other portion of this is compensation for loss through non-performance of act to be impossible or unlawful. So here it reads as when one person has promised to do something which he knew with reasonable diligence might have known, and which the promise did not know to be impossible or unlawful, Such promisor must make compensation to such promise for any loss which the promise sustains through the non-performance of the promise. So basically what this section 56 in nutshell is, and it is very important because most of the people are being debating this, that whether this can be COVID scenario can be treated, and can you make this contract void and relieve yourself of the duties or obligations involved in it, or can you terminate it without having a force majeure clause. So there are three scenarios. A, if you have a contract in which force majeure is absolutely there, you can invoke that. The problem is when you don't have a force majeure clause, because if you see, typically agreement sometimes, like we discussed in the first segment, that sometimes people don't have force majeure clauses in the agreement. Now, in the absence of force majeure clause, you cannot do anything unless you negotiate with the other party and the other party also agrees to do something. It's a different thing. But technically, from a contractual perspective, can you do something? The answer is no, because there is no force majeure clause involved. So the only option for you it remains is to whether can you avail section 56 of the Indian Contract Act, that is with reference to doctrine of impossibility. Can you say that because of COVID it was impossible for me to perform, and that's why I'm not able to perform this, and that's why this contract may be treated as void? So the question is, can this COVID scenario be treated, and in the absence of a force majeure clause in the contract, can you say or can you invoke this provision of section 56? Now, let me tell you that this section 56 of the Indian Contract Act, that is a doctrine of impossibility to invoke, is not very easy. Because if we see the judgments and what courts have been held in this regard, the courts have always held that it's a very high threshold. The court says, okay, fine, it's just 2 or 3 months' time that you're not able to perform. Whether it is a contract like a scenario where it is impossible to perform, the answer, if it is yes, then only then only this invocation can be possible. But if in the COVID scenario, if we see, it is only 2 or 3 months you are not able to perform, right? If it goes, you today everybody is able to perform, maybe in a it may not be that full fledged, or it may not be to that percentage, but yes, the parties are able to perform in a, it may be in a fragmented manner, or it may be not in a full fledged capacity manner, but yes, you are able to perform. So the courts have always held that if it is only, a contract can be discharged basically only by a supervening impossibility. So what courts have normally held, if the subject matter of the contract itself is destroyed. So say for example there is a stadium and that has been agreed to be sold or purchased, and that stadium is no more tomorrow because of some volcano eruption or something. Now that is an impossible thing. So that time maybe the invocation of impossibility can be correct. Or maybe say for example a painter is being contracted by a party to paint a particular picture. Okay, now here your requirement is that this particular famous artist should be kind of painting a particular picture, and you have say given an advance. Now unfortunately the painter is he unfortunately he dies because of COVID, or he is not able to perform, in like his hand gets permanently damaged in a particular scenario, and now he'll not be able to paint anymore. So here the question is, can you invoke the doctrine of impossibility? Maybe yes, because now because of the damage which has happened to his hand, he is not able to paint at all. So here, yes, the doctrine of impossibility may be invoked. But like I'm telling you, this requires a very high thresholds, and normally the courts have not allowed that you can invoke this. So the courts have held that whether the subject matter is destroyed or the contract is entered into on the basis of a continued existence of a certain state of affairs, the contract is discharged if the state of things ceases to exist, or whether the personal qualifications of the party are the basis of contract, then the contract is either discharged by the death, or like I told you, the physical disablement. In this particular case which we saw, that the painter, because of a permanent disability to his hand, is not able to perform, then the courts are definitely may look into that. Yes, this is a doctrine of impossibility, and now it is impossible for a party to perform. But like I told you, there are various cases and the under which this doctrine of impossibility, the courts have said no, you cannot invoke this doctrine of impossibility because it is not making impossible for you to perform. So we are in the next segment, we are going to see the contracts and how the courts have recently been held in particular contracts. So the next segment would be that, say on a lease matter or in case of a contract, whether this party has invoked a force majeure or a doctrine of impossibility, how the courts have been held. So see you in the next segment. Thank you.